averaged 3 million a fight.
Wait, hold on, wait. You looked that up and you had that stat. So wait, Stipe only made $800,000 for that fight?
He had an $800,000 purse for that fight.
Why does he get paid so
because
little?
He's not a knucklehead. Because they like the guys that are going to go into the weigh-in and punch somebody in the face and hit each other with a chair or whatever, all that stuff. And that is not what happened. So, as we're sitting here talking on WOVU 95.9 FM, a BBC community radio station, I want to let the world know on this outlet that Stipe Miocic was terribly undervalued by the UFC. Listen, if you're a great heavyweight boxer, and you're the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time, you make more money than the middleweights and the flyweights, and you make more money than those other boxers. That's the way it goes. He never made the money that these other guys made. Conor McGregor and all these other guys, he never made money like that. And it was too bad.
Well, one of my concerns is that Stipe might be done.
Yeah, I think he might be. I think he might be.
So we ended the show with this a little bit. I want to get into a little bit more with you because you're a fan of MMA, right?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, because were you at the Academy on Saturday night watching? No, you said no.
We didn't watch it up there that night.
What was y'all doing up there?
Listen, pay-per-views are too expensive. Bars can't get pay-per-views anymore. They charge them by how many seats they have. Like you can't. The pay-per-view game, it's so expensive for bars. Like if you get it from BW3s or something like that, and they get it in. That's one thing, but local bars like that, they can't afford it anymore. They've made it impossible for them to get these fights.
Because wait, our bars are allowed to be at full capacity right now, right?
I don't remember what it is yet. I don't think they're allowed to be full capacity just yet. I think there's still some restrictions on that, but they're allowed to stay open.
So are you headed up there tonight?
I'm not sure we'll all be this evening. I'm not sure.
Because there's a little something, that I plan on getting into a little bit.
Okay.
Natalie is going to be joining us soon. Natalie Turk from Sports Illustrated. So she's a new Cleveland Indians beat writer.
Yes.
So, we're just waiting for her to, get a little acclimated. She's going to come in the room in a little bit. But, one of the things about, Stipe is like you said, but he was a huge draw. But one of the things I felt like is that UFC tried to change the narrative and take things away from Stipe and no longer paint him like as a hero, as overcoming, this firefighter who gets in there and works every day, who still has a regular job and, not like Conor McGregor and who loses all the time, who's out there, talking trash and, whatever, that marketing gimmick. But, Stipe, is a firefighter and goes into work every day.
I'll tell you the other thing with Stipe, too, that they didn't like.
Well, Dana White hates him.
And Dana White, and, we get into sports and politics here. Dana White, big-time conservative guy, Trump guy. Stipe, they thought was going to be that guy because he is a firefighter, and they thought that maybe he'd be outspoken that way, too. But when the George Floyd, which we're hearing all about again right now, that it's the news again. It's ironic that it's about a year later, and we're going right back into that news cycle again with George Floyd. Stipe did not go out there and speak ill of George Floyd, and did not jump on that wave of saying, that George Floyd was wrong. Stipe was a guy who came out and said, listen, this was wrong. We've got to support our people. I'm from Cleveland. We have people of all colors in Cleveland, and I'm not going to say the things that they want me to say. Stipe was I don't want to say he was outspoken, but Stipe did not say the things they wanted him to say, and I don't think they liked that either. I don't think they liked it. But I think the biggest thing is Dana White is a theatrical showman. He wants people that are going to put big ripples in the water one way or the other. And Stipe gave them absolutely nothing. Now, I will tell you, I think Stipe, when you look at it that way, yeah, he's kind of a boring guy because his story is Family Guy, normal life, blue collar, and whatever. But I felt he was very personable. I thought he had a great personality. I thought he was great with the media. I thought he was a great guy to have as your champion, but it just wasn't controversial enough for UFC, and he never made the money like that.
So what do you think is going to be next for Stipe? What's going to be next for him?
I really think he's the type of guy that goes back to the firehouse and goes back to life as normal. I think Stipe is the type of guy that could easily fade into just getting back, hanging out with his friends, his family, enjoying that family life. He's 37, I think. So he's a little bit of an older guy, and he doesn't he's not into the fame and stuff. You know, I don't think he's ever going to be a person that seeks the attention for being on TV or anything like that. Maybe he'll open a gym and work with some young kids, do something like that.
So are you saying that this is it for Stipe? This is his last fight?
I really think, I'm hoping that they let him come back and get one more big payday. If he would have fought a guy like John Jones, he would have gotten a bigger payday.
Yeah.
They didn't give him that. And they knew that this was going to be a hard fight for him to win, even though he beat this kid before. That was a tough fight. So I feel bad. Listen, they knew that somebody was going to knock him off, but instead of giving him a big payday and getting knocked off, they gave him a lower payday and let him get knocked off, and that stunk. I hope they'll give him one last big payday and let him get a little bit of this money before he goes back to the firehouse.
Well, part of the storyline too, I don't know if you noticed, like the storyline shifted to Francis Ngannou, you know, almost like, you know, Rocky Balboa, you know, against the Russian. And, you know, they talked about, you know, how he grew up, how he was impoverished, eating out of cans, the journey that he had. So it's like you're almost watching the transition to another champion. But, you know, Stipe does, you know, there might be a rematch because this will be their third fight between them if they do a rematch. And Stipe can't fight for another 6 months due to medical suspension. So he has to wait 6 months to fight. Right. But, you know, I'm just like, you know, this could be the end, but I don't want it to be for him. I don't want him to go out like that. But you can almost see the storyline diverting to something else, you know, for Stipe instead.
I almost kind of want him to go out because he's had such a great run. UFC fighters usually don't go out on top. They usually go out after a loss. It's really hard to go out after your win because when you win, you want to keep going and you think you still got it. I wouldn't be mad at all if this is Stipe's last fight. I think he's getting ready to have a baby. I think they've got a baby on the way, so that baby's coming. Listen, the guy's made some money. He's made some scratch. He's got a great story to tell. He did great by the city of Cleveland. Really, he's the champion we didn't see coming, right?
Yeah.
We never thought we were going to have a UFC champion from Cleveland. We don't think about that in Cleveland because all we care about is the Browns, right? Nobody ever talks about anything else. But all of a sudden, we had a UFC heavyweight champion that won and then won again and then won again and then kept winning for a couple of years, had a great run. If he fades off into the sunset, he gave us plenty. I'm happy with that.
Well, one of the issues was he dropped 30 pounds, and it looks like Natalie.
I dropped 30 pounds.
Natalie has joined us.
Pounds down.
So you could have fought Stipe.
Yeah, I could. Me and Stipe had the same plan.
And once I saw, you know, the pound for pound up against each other, I knew that was it. I knew Stipe wasn't going to win that fight.
Not speaking for Stipe, but I've lost 30 pounds, and I feel frail and weak, and I get cold faster. So I understand Stipe.
Yeah.
And I've been working out and stuff too. It's not like I'm like getting frail at the end of the day, but I just don't feel the same as when I weighed 30 pounds more. Stipe, that was a bad idea.
He shouldn't have lost that. But, you know, he was you know, lost that weight for Daniel Cormier too. And, you know, it worked, but in this case it didn't. So, Natalie, how you doing? Welcome to.
Oh, I'm happy to be on. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, awesome. So happy that you're here to join us today. And I see you ready. I see you got that Ohio State on. I got that's Cleveland. I'm sorry. Look, the way it was tilted, I thought that was I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Ohio State in the house. You just came in on us talking about Stipe. Any thoughts about that fight and Stipe's future? Did you get a chance to catch it?
No, I didn't actually. I was out of town, but, you know, I've heard a lot about it. It's been all over water coolers, you know, talk everywhere. I was really enjoying your guys' banter about it. So I don't have much to add. I do agree, though, you know, Cleveland was just proud to have him and you know, different for the city to root for besides the Browns. Though I do want to say I think the Indians are just as exciting as the Browns. But
well, we're gonna have you tell us about that because right now, you know, I need to be talked off the ledge a little bit. So let's go ahead and get to it. But you know, we wish Stipe well, though, no matter where his journey is. And, you know, he'll always be a heavyweight champion. You know, he was part of that Drake summer of 16, as I like to say, one of the best summers of my life, in which, you know, the Cleveland Cavaliers won the title. The Indians were so close. Stipe won, you know, it was almost biblical. So, you know, part of that ingrained in that city, and, you know, wish him the best of luck and congrats on the new Bambino that's going to be born. So, Natalie, let's get into it.
I don't know how Stipe handles the changeup, but if he can hit it all, he might have a career in the Indians outfield.
Oh, my God.
A little help out there.
Yeah.
He's 30 pounds down. He's fast right now, Rachel. Let's get him a glove.
Yeah, and he's 6'4" and he can jump.
Right.
Swing for the fences. That's all I'm gonna say. So Natalie, how you doing? Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself? I did announce that you were with Sports Illustrated, but I want you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself as well.
Well, I'm an avid Cleveland sports fan, and a Buckeyes fan, by the way.
Yeah,
Cavaliers, Browns, and Indians. I am a local beat writer for several local sites. I have probably for about the past 5 years as a political writer before, and I just drop a lake somewhere than write about politics anymore. Sports, so I don't die at a young age because I don't really want to cover politics anymore. So anyway, I've always been a passionate fan since I was a young girl. My grandpa took me to the ballpark and everything. So about 5 years ago, I got into sports writing, and I write for Cleveland Sports Talk. I think that's how we got introduced through Twitter. Yeah. Social media is a great way to, network with other people, which is great. Wrote for Matt Lodi with Northeast Ohio Sports.
Yeah, Matt.
So I do a lot of work that way. Do some daily fantasy sports work as well, because I am a crazy avid FanDuel girl. I play every single day, whether yay,
love it.
Have a problem. I had to set my lineup before I got on the show here. That's what took me a minute, but yeah. So I'm very sarcastic as well, you can tell. But so yes, but just recently for this summer, I was asked to cover the Indians for Sports Illustrated. So I'm super excited.
Nice. Congratulations. Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And I was excited about the Indians till about the last week, and they've kind of really angered me lately with some of the roster moves. Toward the end of spring training, we can get into that whenever you want. But I'm a diehard fan no matter what, but I still call it like I see it. So if they're not playing well or something I'm not happy about, I'm definitely going to say so.
Now, don't be mad at me, but I'm going to tell you, I don't really even know what FanDuel is.
Rachel.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Like, I just...
Better that you don't, trust me, because once you get suckered into it, it's like when it first came out, I was watching football. I said like 5 or 6 years ago, it's a commercial on TV, and it's like I was always in like fantasy leagues throughout the year where we'd have to direct.
Never done that either.
I was like, oh, you can play every day. And then when COVID hit last year and there were no sports, this is so interesting, but I literally started betting on the horse racing app on FanDuel. I'm like, so it's like 3 a.m. and I'm betting horse racing in China or Argentina somewhere because I just had to, keep on playing FanDuel. So I do really well with it, though, surprisingly, and it's a ton of fun. So you should look it up sometime.
Are we going to need an intervention for you? Because
I was just going to say, I'd like to remind everybody that the National Problem Gambling Helpline is 1-800-522-4700. That's 1-800-522-4700. If you find yourself betting on, what was it they were betting on last year during COVID? The marble races. If you find yourself watching marble races on ESPN and then hopping on FanDuel at 3 a.m, please call the hotline.
Marble, like the game Marble?
They had marble courses set up in people's yards, and they were racing marbles, and they were showing it on ESPN, and then people were betting on whether the red marble, and I believe Natalie was on FanDuel, I got the blue marble plus 1 second.
Yeah.
I'll take the points. I mean, you can literally bet on anything.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to have to take a break right quick, Natalie, and then we're going to be right back. We're going to get into some Indians, but we're going to take this really quick break, okay? You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Church, the Greater Cleveland Congregations, and
FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. And I am here with Sugar Booger, and we are here with Natalie Turk. Yeah. And keep in mind, you can always give us a call, 216-271-0959. You can listen to us online at WOVU.org. And we always encourage you to download that WOVU app so you can take us with us on the go all the time.
Like when we came back with Natalie, we should have played You Got to Know When to Hold. We should have played the music.
He was like, during break, he was like, I like Natalie already. And we were talking about the marble races. I don't know if you saw my face, but I was really like, were people really betting on marbles? So I think that's how you know, like, we kind of hit rock bottom as a society. Because what was that one game where you removed the little rod and then the marble dropped down?
That's exactly what it's like.
Was that Plinko or no? Plinko is that
Plinko was Bob Barker.
Okay, yeah, but y'all know what I'm talking about. You removed the little rod, the little cylinder thing, and then the marble dropped.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So that's a great song. You know, that probably does fit me quite well, but I'll admit it. And
so can you win real money on FanDuel?
Yeah. Like tens of thousands, like a lot.
Then I don't need to be on it because first of all, I'm frugal, but I only like to do stuff in which I win. You know what I'm saying?
I'd also say that Her in the Huddle is not officially sponsored by FanDuel or its affiliates. So the opinions expressed on the program. Well, listen, we're on a community radio station, and Rachel's about to get us investigated. There's going to be guys with helicopters dropping at the top of BBC investigating why Rachel is getting into the gambling online. Rachel,
all right, we're moving on to the Indians. Natalie, we're moving on to the Indians.
Yeah, so take us down the rabbit hole of online DFS gambling. So
yeah,
I'll stick to my role here as the Indians talk. But I have to speak about myself, and that's just one of my things.
But that was a great story, though, because, I didn't even know that was possible. But now I know through Jesus, all things are possible now. Even betting no FanDuel. But anywho, so moving on to the Cleveland Indians. Yes. Natalie, opening day in 2 days. So they're not opening here. They're opening on the road. Right now, this Cleveland Indians team, can you tell our fans what can people be excited about with this team? Because I'm still mad about Frankie. I'm not going to get over it for at least a couple years because I know myself. So I'm already putting that out there. I'm be mad. What can we be excited about? Because I don't really know right now. I need you to tell me.
Well, I'll let you know something about Frankie real quick. That so I had to talk a bunch of people off the ledge with Frankie.
Okay.
And the way at it was, and Frankie was one of my favorites. Met him many times. I wish him the best. I'm not really sure what he's doing with this deal, and that's a whole nother story with the Mets right now. Mm-hmm. But I was upset. It's kind of like the way I looked at it with Francisco. It was like one of those breakups, like when you both know the end is coming, but nobody really wants to believe it because we knew that weren't going to keep Frankie. We knew.
But Frankie tried to fight though, and that was the thing I appreciate in this breakup. He was at least trying to fight for us.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? Or it appeared that way.
Right.
He said the right things.
I forget what year it was. Yes, he did. Talker, but that's but they did offer him. I think it was like a 10-year deal with like $250 million somewhere, maybe. And he didn't take that. And I mean, so I'll be honest, and he is one of my favorites. But like I said, the way I see it is, and he did admittedly, tell this to the press in New York. Even that, last year he said he didn't even hit the weight room or really try. So he gave up on the team. When I heard he took a nap during the 2016 rain delay, I was like the biggest game of my life, actually. And I don't know how you can go take a nap during it. So I started to feel a little bit differently. But the thing, not even about him. Here's the way I look at it, like logistically. So the Indians did a couple of positive things after Frankie left. They went out and got us Eddie Rosario from the Twins. Mm-hmm. And the way I look at that is good in two ways, because I believe he's going to bring. Now I'm not putting him up there with Michael Brantley, but I'm saying that I feel so. Michael Brantley, the last time we had him, we had a veteran presence in the outfield, like a strong presence. So I'm hoping Rosario can bring something of that sort. But the most important thing, Rosario decimates the tribe. He slays them every time we faced him.
Yes.
So it's a double win for us. We no longer have to face him anymore. And he hit almost as many home runs in Progressive Field as he did in his home park for the Twins. So I'm thinking, okay, win Rosario. So that makes me a little happier. I'm getting a little bit over the breakup with Frankie. And then they did another positive thing. They re-signed Cesar Hernandez, who I really like. So I think he's a great player. He can bring us speed. I hope they plug him into the leadoff spot.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see those two moves. So I felt, I felt more positive. I'll be honest. I was hurt when Carrasco left almost just as badly because I didn't see Francisco coming. So Carrasco. So if Frankie's a breakup, it's like Carrasco's like the side girl or something. Like he's just on in this relationship.
You know what?
Cookie is a great name. Cookie is a great name for a side chick.
When Cookie left though, Natalie, I was like, Cookie hadn't been pitching like Cookie used to pitch. So it was kind of like, all right, Cookie, I wish you well. Go now. Pat on the bum. Go, Cookie. See ya.
There, because I think for me, it's probably just more of he said he wanted to stay.
Yeah.
Let him stay. He wanted to retire from Cleveland. And I'm that type of like loyal, like, ride or die. I want them to stay, if they want to. But so the pitching, of course, I don't think is missing a beat without Carrasco. I feel like the starting five are probably one of the best. I'm going to go out on a limb and say one of the best rotations in the American League still. And that's with losing over the past few years, Kluber, Clevenger, Bauer. So if you think about it, we have Bieber, Plesac, Savali, Tristan McKenzie. I love. I think that kid is going to be great. They call him Sticks, So yeah, I think he's he's a great kid. And then I believe they chose Logan Allen. It was between him and Cal Quantrill for the 5th spot. So I feel really good about the starting five. The bullpen has a lot of depth. I think Karinchak's going to be the closer or possibly Clace. I think it's going to be like a closer by committee type. We'll see how that goes. But, it always comes back to every year the offense. So even though, I know it hurt to lose Lindor, it's not like we really lost a power hitter. We still have Jose Ramirez. I just wrote a recent article that really I think it's all going to go on his shoulders. I mean, Ramirez, he has the ability to be that power hitter that we're going to build our lineup around. So, I think they're going to really rely on him more than ever in the lineup.
Just as we're talking here, the Indians managed to blow a lead and lose the game. So they've obviously heard you talking about all of your enthusiasm and your hope and your optimism, and they said, nay, let's get this under control right now. We're going to go and blow this lead.
This is the way I look at this spring training, because believe it hasn't been pretty. So I just feel like they're going to get all that ugliness out, and then we're going to just at least we start off in Detroit. I mean, that's a positive sign because at least we have a good shot of winning there, and then we face Kansas City at home. So, I'm hoping that we can at least start out well. It's 162 games in a season, so
are they playing reduced season now?
As far as I'm aware, it's going to be the complete season.
Okay.
Natalie, I have been saying that to me, this team. So what happens when you lose a star like Frankie? It's like a gut punch, right? And that team and the locker room and everybody, the whole organization, the fans, everybody kind of spends the beginning of the season taking inventory. They see who's going to step up. They kind of get their bearings, and then they go, which means that this team is probably going to get off to a slower start. But with that said, with this pitching staff, I feel like if they can get a couple pieces here and there to provide some runs, it's a team that could improve greatly over the course of the year. And I think a team that by the end of the year might be clicking and maybe give us some excitement. I really just want this to be a team that we're still excited about and paying attention to at the end of the year. Do you see this as one of those teams that maybe isn't going to knock us off our feet at the beginning of the year, but has a chance to get it together and be something to watch at least by the end of the year?
Yes, absolutely. So I don't equate them to the Cavaliers because
Right.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, so I think you're absolutely right. So a lot of fans feel the same way about Frankie. The team doesn't even look the same. I was talking about that too. Roberto Perez is the only, and Jose Ramirez are the only two people left, I believe, from the roster from that 2016 World Series.
Wow.
So I mean, the face of the team. Some people I've talked to are like, well, I'm going to opening day, but I don't even know anybody that plays anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. In 5 years, though, that turnover, like.
Yeah, like who are these guys? So I do believe, that we will get a couple of these young guys that maybe emerge as one of the stars, somebody that we can really get behind and get excited about. And the pitching is going to help keep us in the game, but we can't expect to win every game,
2-0 every game.
one
Yeah.
have to produce some runs. So, the hitting coach with the Indians needs to get it together. And I'm sorry, disclaimer out there if I get in trouble for saying that, but we need to get the offense going. And I definitely agree that by midsummer, they'll have gelled as a team. And that's what I'm thinking Jose can do. At least he can, just provide that presence and someone for the young, hitters to really look up to. And, in baseball, you never know what can happen. Like they say in football, any given Sunday, right? So in baseball, I mean, it's like a marathon.
Yeah.
Need to be patient and, hope that our pitching, sticks through. Anything can happen. Somebody can have an injury, someone can have a breakout year. So I do hold a belief that, they're going to give us, if not being a contender and hitting like a wild card or something, at least giving us a reason to be excited.
And Natalie, hold that thought because we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and finish up with you because I know that you're on the media tour right now because the opening day is about to come soon. So we're going to be right back and then we're going to finish back up with you, okay? So you're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
OVU has brought you 3 exciting panels of the consent decree, as well as informative interviews.
This is your girl, Rachel, the First Lady of Sports, and I'm in studio with Sugar Booger. And we are here with Natalie Turk, who is a Sports Illustrated Indians beat writer. So super happy to have you. And I know we said we're going to be letting you go soon, but we had to bring you back after the break. So you said that, we can chill out. Everything is going to be good. Where do you predict the Indians finishing at? You said that they possibly could get that wild card. Do you have them at 80 wins? You have them at 90 wins? Where are you realistically thinking that this team can honestly finish?
I'm going to go bold and say, in the upper 80s, possibly 90.
Okay.
I'm going to give them like 85 and 90 wins. The division, for a while it was a, pretty weak division, but now the White Sox, the Twins, they're going to give the Indians a run for their money. It used to just be a given that we'd get the title every year. So, I'm definitely not saying that they're going to do that, but I'm not counting them out either. So I'm kind of in the limbo stage. I definitely know that Chicago's a young, exciting team. The Twins are the Twins, so that's what we need to worry about. But I think, like I said, I do. I'm also realistic. I chat away. I know that's why, I could talk forever, but God told me to shut up sometimes. But I really, I do talk to a lot of Indians fans, and if I really believed this was garbage team and we should just shut it off and not watch it, I would say so. So I don't believe that. I'm feeling a bit down, like I said. Daniel Johnson, DJ sent him down to the minors. When they sent Zimmer down. When they chose Jake Bowers at first base.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because that first base thing seems to be a point of contention between him and Bobby Bradley. Yeah. So what are your thoughts about that? How long does Jake Bowers have to produce before they yank him and insert Bobby Bradley in at first base?
They should have already yanked him, to be honest.
Okay. But it ain't even started.
Bradley, I feel, definitely. I think he led everyone in spring training. So, I mean, offensively. So what I'm hoping is, they're just going to, test Bowers out there and then and get Bobby Bradley up. So it could be somebody like Bobby Bradley who brings excitement, gets brought up somewhere into May or June or something. So they have a ton of Yu Chang. I also like him as well. So there's some young guys that can give us some pop. So that's where my hope lies. I'm disappointed in the center field and first base. Absolutely. Those decisions, spring training, just to summarize, I'm pretty disappointed in those. But in Tito, we trust, right? I guess. Let's see if he can.
We were going to ask you about that, too. You got to before we could. But Tito's health is a point of concern for us. Can Tito effectively coach this season? I mean, we were able to see what Sandy Alomar was able to do, but let's be honest, Tito's had a lot of health issues, and I thought last year he was going to retire last year. This is a long grind. And, I'm just waiting. Let me not, I don't want to put anything out in the air, but, is Sandy ready to take this team? And he was able to do it last year. And we were able to get, to the wild card. But, how much longer can Terry effectively last a whole season as skipper?
Yeah, because like we were saying, it's a long season. It's grueling, a lot of travel, COVID protocols are following and all these different things. So I'm hopeful that Francona stays with the team through the entire season. If not, I do believe, they're grooming Sandy for that position. I still think, even at the end of last year when Sandy, did take over at the helm, that, I think Tito was in his ear some, at least, in helping him. So I'm hopeful. And, the word that they're putting out, that he's ready to go for the entire season. So we'll pray that does work out, and I do trust that man has pulled off some incredible feats. So as far as like putting together, I think it was Salazar, it might have been Carrasco a couple years ago. I was at the game. He got like that season-ending injury, like in the second pitch. It was like
Cookie. When the ball rolled back and broke his wrist?
Yes, and then Tito puts together like this bullpen game out of nowhere, and they won. And I'm like, So when he's put in those positions, he's really good at being able to work through when Trevor Bauer had the drone injury and then was bleeding all over the mound. I mean, so
Trevor.
Cleveland, crazy things happens, and I feel like Tito does a pretty good job. I get mad at him every once in a while for leaving a pitcher in too long when I think he should be pulled out. I'm yelling, get out of there. But in all reality, I do trust him. So I think that's another reason we can be hopeful, because there's a method to their madness, I'm sure, and they're going to, do a good job of putting these guys together and seeing how it goes. I hope we start off strong. I will definitely be down there Monday. The forecast shows in the 70s, so players to close, because I get sick of freezing down there in April.
Yeah, well, usually the press box is pretty comfy, so unless they open up the whatchamacallit, so watch out for spiders. Sugar Booger, yeah, like I don't, and that the Indians press box and those big old windows, like literally there's spiders in almost every window, and these are like huge spiders, and they literally terrify me. And sometimes I have to have the attendants come and like kill them for me, because I'm
attendants kill spiders.
Absolutely, I do. And then the next night I come, they're back. They're like nocturnal. So they drop down during the game, and then during the daytime, they're not there. But at night games, they drop back down. Yeah, it's really scary.
Rachel, that sounds like more something you need. I think your solution for that is therapy, not getting one of these guys to kill the spiders.
They can kill me.
They need help for you.
The spiders can kill me. Anything for Natalie before she goes?
Listen, Natalie, I will say this. You mentioned the rosters and getting to know players and things like that. I am a marginal baseball guy. It's not my favorite, but I enjoy it. But when I look at the Indians rosters that I've fallen in love with, I really didn't get to know players oftentimes until they were a playoff team. And that's when I started to pay attention and get to know guys. I'm not a real fan. I am a marginal baseball guy who I like winners. I'm sorry. Color me crazy. I like winning teams. But listen, for those people that want to dip their toes in the Indians this year and get familiar, give me one name they need to become familiar with that maybe isn't on the radar just yet, or was somebody who's just starting to come out that people really need to start paying attention to.
Well, I'm trying to think. I feel like I know them all, so I always think but I know I'm not the average. You are, one of the most people don't. Unless they're diehard fans, they don't start paying attention till the end of the season, or I don't blame you for that. I know people that are the same way with the Indians. Are like, really, you're going to watch all these games? But so there's probably a couple. Like I said, Yu Chang, he is one. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but it's somebody who I'm really looking forward to seeing play. He's going to be. I think he may start actually at first base on opening day, just because there's going to be a left-handed pitcher opening for Detroit, and he's really good. Ahmed Rosario, who we got over from the Lindor trade, he's another one. So another Rosario that we should watch for, not Eddie, but Ahmed. So I think I would say those two. Besides Bobby Bradley, I enjoyed him as well. So with Chang and Rosario, I think those are names that we're probably going to hear throughout the season, or at least, when you start paying attention at the end of the season, when they start getting close to contention, those will be some bigger name, some names that you'll be familiar with.
I love it. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah. So Natalie, thank you so much. Keep in mind you have an open invite to come anytime. Hopefully we can get you in throughout the season, because the Indians will be doing a lot better. But appreciate having you. Women in sports and women covering baseball. You got kind of get tired of being the only one. It's about 3 or 4 of us. So hopefully I'll be able to get down to some games and meet you in person and all that other good stuff. But it's definitely been a pleasure having you on today, and thank you so much for everything. And
Natalie,
wishing you well.
Where do we follow you?
Thank you for reminding me. Yeah.
Oh, I'm all over the place. I'm kidding. No, I'm a crazy Twitterer, so I'm on Twitter. It's Nat, because you could call me Nat or Natalie, but it's Nat, NATS. NATS _ sports chat, and that is on my Twitter. And then it's the same on Instagram. And then my writing for Sports Illustrated also at www.clesportstalk.com and neosi.com, which is Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders.com. So that'll be where the three places you'll find my writing. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ron, for keeping me together.
Yeah.
I appreciate you always. All right, Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.
Much fun. I enjoyed it tremendously. So I'll hopefully see you again back on, and then maybe someday down at the park.
Open invitation, always.
Awesome.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, thanks so much. Have a good one.
Natalie.
Yeah, so about to get out here and actually go to another break, man. Time just flies.
Look at me talking baseball, Rachel.
Yeah, I know. I'm so proud of you because we're going to be talking about it tomorrow, too. So I just want you to know that.
Did the Cavs make another trade?
Yeah, they got smacked last night. And, I did also want to address with you that Andre Drummond trade as well. Because there's been a lot going on. But when we come back, we'll talk about Hugh Jackson. We just got to do it right now. Hugh is on this book tour, and it's just a train wreck right now. So we're going to go ahead and take these breaks. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU at 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
I'm hunting rabbits.
Rabbit hunting.
.9 FM. We just had Natalie Turk on, who is the Cleveland Indians beat writer for Sports Illustrated. Big ups to that. I love these jobs being handled by women. The women are keeping it down. So she has an open invite to come back in the huddle at any time. So I'm back here with Sugar Booger. Yeah. And man, talk about, we about to, be getting it in with a lot of football soon. Draft coming up at the end of the month. But right now, one of the former Cleveland Browns coaches, normally Cleveland Browns coaches, they go into relative obscurity or they go off and do another job, within the NFL and pretty much don't talk about Cleveland. It's kind of one of those things like you saw the light, you don't talk about the light, and you go back, it's like an off limits thing. Most people don't talk about it, but Hugh Jackson just can't stop talking about it. Nope. So Hugh Jackson has wrote a tell-all book. And now he was on an apology tour. Read. Yeah, I went away.
You call this an apology tour?
Yeah, I don't. It just sounded good. I should have found another verb for that.
There was no apology. It looked like he went on a go in tour.
Yeah, and it's just not a good look, man. What are your thoughts? Because it seemed like he was very contrite about having these losing seasons, and it sucked for him as a professional. And now he's just coming out just blaming everybody and not having any accountability. So where are you at
down
with
a little
Ryan?
bit of what Hughes said? He was on ESPN 850 on Monday. And he said the former Browns head coach claimed that he was lied to by ownership and by the executive team because he was never informed that they were going into rebuild mode prior to him accepting the job. And he added that the franchise inaccurately portrayed him as an anti-analytics coach. He says, quote, they were going to be football plus analytics, but they intentionally made it football first analytics. You got to understand it wasn't going to be, they weren't looking for coaches. They were going to take 2 years. They were going to find a way to use us as an experiment to make sure that they could get the data they needed for it to be better at the expense of whoever. And that's not right. So basically he's saying that he was a guinea pig. They were going to put him out there, collect some analytics, and then hire the coach they really wanted after they got him out of there. All of that is probably true. I think he was probably right. I don't think you interview a coach and tell him, hey, Hugh, bro, we're going to hire you, but we are going to tank. Just so you know, because nobody's going to take that. So, of course, that's not going to happen.
But sometimes people are in on the tanking plan and they know.
Yeah, but it's not a guy like Hugh Jackson where he was when he took that job. Hugh still had a pretty good reputation when he took that Browns job.
That is true.
So that guy wouldn't have come here to tank at all because look at what happened after his career here. Went right down the tube. The part about the analytics versus football, that was something that might have happened too. I don't think Hugh Jackson strikes me as an over-the-top analytics guy.
No, he strikes you as old school football.
Yeah. So I think that was a time where the front office was getting interested in analytics. My guess is that they came to Hugh. Now, I wasn't there, but I'm just looking at how this plays out. My guess is they came to Hugh and said, we're going to be more analytics driven. And Hugh said, no, because I'm old school football. And they said, well, we're doing it anyways. So deal with it. And I think he probably felt like they weren't letting him do his job. And he wants to blame that for the losses. This was a bad spot. I don't know what coach was going to come in when they hired Hugh Jackson and make anything out of what was going on. The front office was a mess. Everything was a mess. The problem with what Hugh Jackson is doing is everybody knows it. They don't need Hugh Jackson to go on a tour and tell them it was a mess. So it just looks bad. Now you look bad.
But do you remember this analytics stuff coming up off of Hard Knocks at all? Do you remember that coming up?
I don't necessarily, but you could see the people that they were hiring were analytics people. They were putting analytics people in place, and it's the way the league went. And if Hugh Jackson thought he was going to be the only guy in the league that wasn't going to use analytics, he was wrong. Everybody switched to it. Everybody's using analytics. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And the best coaches right now are the ones who blend analytics and statistics with creative calls around that. And they put together teams that can interpret numbers. It's just like business.
Yeah.
Interpret the
everything
numbers
in the world.
Strategy.
Yeah, that's how you come up with success in anything. 100%. I mean, that's Natalie and in the boxes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
She plans a meal out and she cooks those meals. Yeah. Everything is data driven no matter what you 100%. Do. And that's just the way of the world. I mean, we get dressed. It's driven on data. Yeah. What's the temperature outside? Yeah. So, it's you got to get with the times as much as we want to resist. He also mentioned Ty Haley. I agree with Ty Haley because, Ty Haley did try to, overthrow him and get a job.
It's like a coup.
And Ty Haley got what Ty Haley had coming to him.
I don't think Hugh Jackson has told us anything we didn't already know without him saying it.
Yeah.
And that's why I really don't care to read his book. Because I already know there's things in that book that aren't as crazy as things we already knew about.
Well, it's not going to be on the Amazon bestseller. It's not going to be on a New York Times bestseller. We already know that. But what is the point of all this now? Because it just makes him look bad. It doesn't make. Yeah, I guess so. But it doesn't make. And then if you want to get back in football. I don't really think that this is kind of the way that you should go about it, trashing, the Cleveland Browns, because right now you're in the rearview mirror. The Cleveland Browns ain't thinking about you. Two years later, they made a playoff run without you.
This is the book that you write when you don't want to come back into football because you're bitter about it.
Exactly.
And you're over it.
Exactly.
I think Hugh Jackson is paid. I think he's got a bunch of money. He made a bunch of money while he was coaching. And I think at this point, it's not worth the trouble for him to get back into coaching. It didn't make him happy. At the end of the career, he became bitter. I think probably the game has passed him by. I think if he wants to get back into coaching and get back into these positions, he's got to adopt the analytics and the new philosophies that are out there, and he doesn't seem interested in doing that. So what happens at that point? You have to stay relevant somehow. I don't think people are clamoring for him to get into being on the NFL Sunday broadcast. I don't think they're looking for him to replace Bill Cowher anytime soon. So what does he have left to do to fill his days besides going to a golf course? He's got to do something, because Hugh Jackson also likes attention just a little bit. I think we learned that about Hugh too. Hugh likes attention. So,
but this is the wrong attention. And I know they say any attention is right attention, but it's just, you know, you're dredging up something that everybody has kind of moved on away from. But at the end of the day, it's your legacy that is tarnished. You own these records. And as pitiful as they are, you still own them despite what happened. Now, you know, we can't say he didn't have the best players either. So, you know, it was a culmination of different things in which his tenure wasn't, you know, successful here. But it's just like, you know, you got to move on. I don't think that if you wanted to stay in the NFL, you know, that you should have came out and wrote books like this and go on these media tours in the manner that you are, because you can't possibly.
And here's my thing too. If the Browns had finished this season with 3 or 4 wins and had a disappointing season, I think that changes how we feel about this too, because then we'd say, yeah, that's right, Hugh, they do stink. They always stink. They're the worst. The Browns have had success. Now they've tasted success. So now when you try to come back to Cleveland and down talk the Browns and talk about how bad they are and how bad the organization is, people aren't really trying to hear that anymore, because they're a winning team now, and it's kind of bad juju.
Yeah.
It's like talking about somebody that you could make successful, then they get success and you still want to talk bad.
Well, I guess he wants to own some part of that success, maybe. Instead of being looked at the person who was one of the worst records in history. You know, he wants to maybe have some ownership in the new success. But Suge, tell everybody what's coming up next.
Listen, the Big Hef radio show is coming up. One of my favorite guys in Cleveland is coming on, Trey Hoover, and I think his dad, 3 Feet, the producer, is going to be on with us too.
3 Feet, the
been
producer?
around forever.
3 feet tall?
Yeah, he's 3 feet tall, and he's been around forever. And Trey is doing big things. He's got a brand new song that has 200,000 streams on Spotify and about 150,000 views on YouTube. And then also from Def Jam Records, Bo Young Prince, who was featured on the Coming to America 2 soundtrack. He has a feature with Ari Lennox on there. He's going to be joining us to talk about that experience as well. And then at 8:30, I'm going to give my controversial opinion on the Lil Nas X video that's out right now making noise. I'm going to give my controversial opinion on why maybe we're focusing on the wrong things.
Lil Nas was very busy on Twitter as well, giving people the business. And I was here for all of that, especially Caitlin Bennett when she asked him if he had a father. How dare you? That's a whole nother conversation for another time. But just want to thank everybody for listening to Her in the Huddle. You can always get at me at 1ST Lady of Sports, and that is on Twitter as well as Instagram. And Rachel L. Hill at Facebook.com. So thank you so much for listening. And we are out of here.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.